welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. As you can see, this gentleman here to my left is not the king, it's not Tombstone Ted, and it's not the Dynamo. This is a guest that we've tried to line up for a little while now, all the way from the States. This is actor and producer, Mr. Paul Hurley. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking, brother. How's everything over in Ireland?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's a bit rainy out there now.
We're expecting snow on Wednesday, so
You can keep the snow.
yeah, right.
You can keep it. This whole country, even if you get one snowflake, shuts down the fuck. It's awful.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, but yeah, I can negotiate
it. We can deal.
That's right.
Over here, not so much. But no, as I said, we tried to line it up a little while ago, and you got busy, and scheduling issues happened then. So glad that we actually got this done.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a little bit busy. My schedule, I never really know what it's going to be until a few days before it's going to be. A lot of people, they'll go out and they'll put out casting calls and so on and so forth, and they'll line stuff up weeks and months in advance. I've kind of gotten to the point where I've accumulated so many props and have been in so many films. It's like a director will call me the next day and say, "Hey, I need you on set in 2 days." Well, what's the project? I don't even know what the film is.
What's the project? No, what's the paycheck?
Right, that part. Yeah, but no, on a serious note, I got a call, and this was something that happened about 2 weeks ago. I got a call from a director about 3 days before the shoot, and I thought, okay, no big deal. Haven't got a script. All I know is I was playing a cop in a film that's called Sirens. Now, just from title and character alone, you're thinking, okay, it's a cop show.
Siren, if it's a horror film now, I'd be thinking more of the mermaid kind of.
That part. So, the mermaids, I can't really go into a whole lot of detail about it, but there's a male and a female, and mermaids have a way of putting their people under a trance, so to speak.
The song.
Yeah, the song. So the next thing I know, I'm getting directions from the director, and I get to dance the tango with another dude.
Nice.
I don't even know how to dance the tango, and I'm straight, so I was completely out of my element. But, being a good actor, you just get thrown in the mix and you just make it happen. And I made it happen, but woo, guys, get a script.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just can't turn them down, really, I'd say.
Right. Well, and I've known this director for a while. I've never worked with him. Great guy. And I think he knew that, last minute I could pull it off. And I did, but I was literally taking tango instructions like 15 minutes before the shoot.
Now you can dance the tango.
Yeah, now I can. So
now what you need to do is bring yourself out for a nice little day and dance the tango.
Absolutely.
No, well, that's a sign of a good actor, really, isn't it? You can take it on a whim.
Well, I've had to learn to do that. Some people refer to it as baptism by fire, but it really will make you or break you.
But the acting world is so competitive and so, what's the right word? It's not, well, cutthroat is one, but for you, if you had said no to that, you don't know when the next job is coming.
Right. And that's the thing. I will hardly and rarely ever say no unless I know that there's somebody on set or a director that I don't, click with. So if it's somebody I know that I like and that I've heard good things about, I don't care what it is. Put me on set. Yeah. But I don't care how good the part is. If I know somebody that's a part of it and they're a dirtbag, well, make your film without me. Best wishes.
You do see that from time to time. People, obviously, more so in Hollywood, you've seen a lot of the like say, the big rivalries or hatreds between actors.
Yeah.
Obviously, Vin Diesel and The Rock had a big one.
Yeah, they did.
Will Smith and Martin Lawrence had one after Bad Boys 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it can really hurt the film when, like, obviously you're an actor, you can should be able to get on, but sometimes you can see it's still a fractured um relationship
Yeah.
between the two of them. Like
Yeah. And
Bad
that's
Boys
another
2
reason
was
why,
rough ish.
even in personal life, I won't date anybody that's in the industry.
Makes
Because
sense.
typically if that ends bad, well then, you could be affecting yourself later down the road.
Don't shit where you eat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Never get
Uh,
your honey and money out of the same pot.
what if you're a honey maker though?
Well, that's true.
That's an exception to the rules.
That's the exception, yes.
Um, but no, like that's like it's a good analogy to have, really, though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, if you date another actress or actor, depending on whatever you're
Sexual
into,
preference, right.
um, and then you break up, and then all of a sudden the two of you are cast as a main role, and you're like, oh,
Oh,
okay,
this is awkward.
hello, you.
Yeah, right. How about that last kiss?
What happens? Oh, I get to kill you. Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The one and
Um,
only time you enjoy the role, right?
a little too much. A little too
Right.
much. So Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into acting.
Well, it's funny. I've been an auto mechanic, welder, fabricator, and electronics technician for roughly 30 years. Um, right before COVID hit, I had gone through a divorce, and I was looking to change my surroundings, change the people I was hanging around. You're a product of your environment. If you want better, then target better. So I was looking around, and I think I added like 300 or 400 people, within a day or two. And one of these people that I added, she was a director and had a film coming out, I think like the very next week, and sent out an invite. And I was like, wow, okay, I just got invited to a film premiere. I don't have anything to do, so why not? And I went and bought a tux and I went. Man, I had a blast. Hung out most of the night with Chip White, Vanna White's brother, several other actors and producers, and left there with like 10 or 15 friends requests on Facebook. These people network like crazy. And after that, it was five
Popular
to
guy.
10 a day. 5 to 10 a day after that. And of course, then COVID hit and everything shut down. No filming, anything was being done. Um, so it kind of just blew it off as it was a good time, right? Well, COVID restrictions started letting up, and I got a call from a director, and she said, "How would you like to be in a film?" Sure, why not? She's like, "Well, I need a bouncer," and at the time, I was bouncing part time at a bar on Lake Wiley, South Carolina, called Papa Doc's. So I was bouncing out there on the weekends, and she's like, "I need a bouncer for my film," and I'm like, "Method acting, I can do this."
Yes.
So, about 2 days before the shoot, she calls me up. She's like, "Have you got a motorcycle?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got a Harley." Well, can you send me a picture? Sure. Well, this booger had 21-inch ape hangers, and raked out, chopped. And she's like, "Do the handlebars come down?" And I'm like, "No."
They stay
She's like,
right
"Well, we
there.
need it for our main actor, and the handlebars are too tall. He's a short fella." And I'm like, "How short?" She told me he's like 5'1". I'm like, "Oh my God, okay,
Is he
I'll
allowed
find you a
on a
bike."
motorcycle?
Right. I was like, "I'll find you a bike." So I called Stephanie, the girl that I bought my bike from at the dealership, and I was like, "Stephanie, and there's two things that you never loan out, and that's your Harley or your old lady, because one of them's going to have a rod thrown in it." So
Or
I
both.
was like, "Steph, I really need to borrow your Sportster." And she's like, "You want a what?" I was like, "Look, I'll bring you my night train. You sit on my bike. I'll borrow yours for a couple of days. I'm going to put it in a film." And she was like, "Really?" I was like, "Sure." So I go pick up the bike and I get on set, and the director's like, "Can you ride the bike?" I'm like, "Girl, I was racing dirt bike motocross when I was 9. I can do wheelies on this thing in the parking lot like nothing." And she's like, well, I need you to ride the bike. Well, and I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to body double for somebody that's a foot shorter than me?
Why wouldn't you
And
just let you use your bike?
well, yeah, exactly. But but then we had to portray him to use it. He even sitting on it, he couldn't reach the handlebars. So um, we get there and she runs this by me, and I'm like, okay, sure. Well, they end up shooting it from the ground at an upward angle with the sun in my back. So when I came sliding up on the bike, you really couldn't see me, just kind of a silhouette, and then caught me from the ankles down on the bike. Of course, then cut. Then he takes my place, gets on the bike, action. He gets off the bike, and it pulled it off. It turned out phenomenal. If you get a chance, look up. It's a proof of concept. It was called. Oh man.
Oh, problems now.
Oh
Pressure's
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah. It's on my IMDb though, but it was a
Uh,
proof of concept. It's on YouTube.
is it
Uh,
Hunter, the last ride, the last line?
no, no, it was one with Grace Taylor Grace. I believe on the cover you'll see a guy and a girl on a motorcycle.
I'm on it.
So that was
Uh,
the very first thing that I was in.
oh, always.
Always, that's it. And well, a guy from that film ended up bringing me onto another set, and it dominoed from there. Everybody that I had met from then on out was like, "Hey, I know a guy." So I noticed that I started getting typecasted a lot as a cop or a park ranger or somebody like that. So I
Big
thought,
unit.
yeah, well, I was thinking to myself, hey, if I'm going to be typecasted like this, I'm going to be like Barbie and come with accessories. So I bought a police car, I rigged it out with all the lights and stuff, and then started buying uniforms and stuff that I would run across at garage sales. And I got a couple of sheriff's deputies outfits, and and it just I started accumulating all this stuff, and prop guns, weapons, stuff like that, and it just was kind of like a no-brainer. Anytime somebody would reach out to somebody that I knew, was like, hey, do you know anybody who can play a cop? They're like, I know a guy.
I know a guy, and he comes with his own stuff.
That's right, he comes with a car, uniforms, guns, whatever you need.
Pay him double, and he can have it.
Hey, you know what, in all actuality, the damn car makes more money a day on set than I do.
Most equipment probably would.
Yeah, it's like, as an actor, um, playing a supportive role, maybe 250 a day. um, the car gets 350 a day, but together
Together,
we
we
make
get
some money.
grand.
Together we make some money.
Pays the
But yeah,
bills. Pays the
it's
bills.
been fun. It really has. It's been a wild ride, and I really think there's so much that can be said about. It's all about the journey versus where you end up, and I very much am a firm believer and supporter of that, because it really is. It's the journey.
Well, I mean, like, take it there. Obviously, you said after your divorce, you added some people, right?
Yeah, about 300
If
folks.
if you didn't do that, you don't get that invitation,
That's right.
right? You don't get that invitation, acting doesn't happen,
That's right.
and you
It's
don't,
funny how everything just kind of fell into place, though.
and then you don't get to star in one of the best TV shows I've watched in a long, long time either.
Yeah.
Mhm. In Tulsa King.
Tulsa King, yes, episode 2, season 2. On about the first 30 seconds of that episode, I'm at the blackjack table playing blackjack.
What
So it was fun. It
what a
was it
fucking
was an
show that
experience.
what a show that turned out to be.
Yeah. That was a really good popular show.
Now
I
I
was
have to wait
lucky to
another
get on that.
year for the next season.
But you know what? I have to say, and it's ironic that I brought this up, that you asked me about that, because it was the whole divorce thing. Now, my ex-wife, her favorite actor,
Sylvester Stallone.
Liam Neeson.
Huh.
Yeah. And Liam Neeson's last action film is The Naked Gun. So to see his last film,
Oh,
she's
he's
going to have to see
retiring, is
me in
he?
3 scenes.
He's retiring, is he?
Well, he's retiring from action roles. So he's still going to act, but he'll
Is
probably take a little
is
different role.
Naked Gun really gonna be an action movie?
It had some pretty good fight scenes in it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually
So
only watched The Grey the other night with Liam Neeson in it. Again,
yeah,
so good.
yeah, it really is.
Isn't it?
But no, just I get the satisfaction of knowing that to see that film, she's gonna have to see me like 3 times. So
Be even funny if you were just going by the camera like this.
right.
Um, no, but like there's an actor who completely reinvented himself after his own personal tragedy that happened.
Right.
Went on to do Taken, which was phenomenal. The Grey House Amongst the Tombstones or Walk Amongst the Tombstones.
I think my favorite role that he played was Hannibal in the A-Team.
Oh, it was a dire remake of the A-Team, though.
But it
Oh
was
my
good.
God.
It really was. A lot of remakes just bomb tremendously. And I'm not one for remakes, honestly, because I'm like, come up with something original. But that one I have to say was done right.
I would disagree.
Okay.
I wasn't a huge fan of it. Some of it I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I didn't like that they killed people in it because that's not the A-Team.
Right.
Didn't matter how many shots were fired.
Well, and that's the thing about the TV series. They couldn't kill people on TV.
Yeah, I know that, yeah, but obviously growing up watching the A-Team, I was like, yeah, nobody dies here.
Yeah.
And then one of the first times you see Quentin Rampage Jackson, he drops someone on his head.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus Christ.
I'm traumatized now.
Yeah. No. So what? I was a bit harsh there. It's not that bad.
No.
It's
And
watchable.
Murdoch with the paddles and the jumper cable, that was epic.
No, there are a lot worse, especially in horror. There's a lot worse remakes.
Oh yeah, a lot worse remakes in horror.
All I have to do is mention Nightmare on Elm Street, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
That's I don't care what anyone says. That's the worst remake of any.
they should have left it alone.
No, do you know what? I didn't mind the first 40 minutes where they tried to do something different with it.
Right.
And obviously they made him out to be what he was supposed to be in the original.
Yeah.
And they actually used the word to make people hate him even more. And then they just went straight back to the original, and you're just like, well, what was the point of that first 40 minutes? You're like, you were building something here.
Yeah, and they just went,
Yeah.
you dropped the ball.
And unfortunately, I like Jackie Earle Haley. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
That design was terrible. His voice was brilliant, though.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the best role for him to take, but he killed it the best that he could. He is a good actor. But, that's the thing. Whenever you have an original that is so popular, that takes off so well, it's hard to fill those shoes.
Oh, absolutely.
It really is.
I don't care who it is. They're never going to do it as well as Robert done it. It's just not an option.
Yeah. I'll second that. We definitely will agree on that.
But they were saying about sort of remakes of popular originals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm under the impression that there are a few. Obviously, The Thing is the greatest remake in any genre ever. Obviously, being a remake. The Hills Have Eyes is a better remake for me.
That was good.
Yeah, that first one was phenomenal. Even the second one's a bit of fun, but it's not a horror film.
Right.
Probably a little bit too much graping in there too in the second one. The Fly is obviously another one.
I haven't seen the remake from that. The
Jeff Goldblum one.
I don't know that anybody could outdo Jeff Goldblum in
that. Jeff Goldblum's one is the remake.
I know.
Yeah, you haven't seen the original one then?
No, I saw the original Fly, but I haven't seen the second one yet. Is he in the second one?
No, Jeff Goldblum's version of The Fly is a remake.
Oh, so Jeff Goldblum's Fly was the second one.
No, well, yeah, technically, yeah.
Oh, well, I haven't seen the first then.
Well, the first one it was what it was. And then I'm of the minority that think the O3 Texas Chainsaw is better than the original one.
Yeah. There's so many that come out and try to do a remake. I mean, okay, James Gunn's Superman, for instance.
Eek.
That is so controversial here. I'm not going to see it. For the simple fact that, one, the suit's horrible. Two, at no point, at any time in any Superman movie, did he have a dog with him. I know it's in the comics, but it's never been in a film. So now you're looking at an entire generation of people that go, where the hell did the dog come from? Did he get to Earth and bang a poodle as a teenager? And then,
But
is that how we got Super Dog now?
I
But,
suppose that when if it's in the comic, he has source material to go off.
yeah.
And obviously,
Well, because
they made the movie as well, that Super Pets movie, which actually wasn't that bad.
but the way that they do the comics is to ever change and get the attention of children.
Yeah.
That's primarily what comic books are for. But in the history of the movies, Christopher Reeves, um,
Brandon Root, is it? Is that his
right?
name?
And then what was it? The most recent one that's in The Witcher,
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. That should have been the Superman. But Zack Snyder's getting so much crap for his universe. It's like it was perfect. They shouldn't have screwed it up.
Zack
But
Snyder's universe is dreadful, though.
you didn't like the universe?
No, not
Okay.
at all. I don't.
Well, the costumes I think were a lot better.
I haven't liked a DC movie since The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
Like Batman versus Superman was atrocious.
I cried during that one.
It was that bad.
No, when Superman died, it got me, and I was like, I
Superman.
cried.
Superman's also the worst superhero ever. Like legitimately, he's one of the most overpowered superheroes that gets beaten by himself every time because he's an idiot.
Yeah, well, he was super strong, but not smart.
He got the brawn all right. Didn't get the brain.
Oh, yeah.
No.
But yeah, remakes are very controversial. Either you nail it or you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, I'm a minority. I like quite a few of the new ones.
Yeah.
Prefer them than the old ones. But I have my reasonings for that.
Right. Well, we are in the works of writing a sequel to The Wendigo. This one will be The Legend of the Wendigo. So my character survives in the first. He'll be back, and we're bringing in some new talent on this one. So it ought to be good, and it won't be found footage.
I really, really enjoyed The Wendigo.
Yeah.
We have a review episode way back when on it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it looked so fucking good. And I'm a big fan of Blair Witch.
Yeah.
So obviously, I know we were speaking off screen about the start of it and the car journey. I was like, yeah, it's perfect. It's exactly like Blair Witch starts. Goes from here to there, shows you where they're going. Perfect. Although I did think you were a park ranger in that one.
Yeah, I was the park ranger and the executive producer of the film, and it was a fun film to shoot. We were on set for 4 days, on location at the state park, staying in the cabins, so it was kind of like a big camping trip where we were filming day and night, but we got it all done in 4 days.
Nice. Very fun movie, very good movie to watch.
Thank you.
What else have we got? There hasn't been much that I've seen. Obviously, we struggle to get some of the indie movies over here. I'm just lucky that directors send me stuff.
Yeah, right.
And nice people send me stuff to watch.
Well, I can definitely send you some links. I've got a collection of stuff that I've done just within the past year.
And I'll watch the shit out of it. I tend I know we don't get a whole lot, as I said, over here, right? Like we don't have I get some indie stuff that appears on Amazon Prime, which is cool. But I was like, I think I watched something like 64 indie horrors last year alone.
Oh wow!
Obviously the show is becoming more popular as the weeks go on, which is great. So people like when I reach out to films that are being made, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we sent you a screener to watch." Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm in.
Nice.
Like I think I'm up to 6 already for this year.
Well, I think You're It will be on Amazon at the end of the month, and Fandango. So I don't know which ones are available over there, but that'll run for about 4 months, and then it's hitting all streaming platforms after that.
Now, is it going to be Amazon? Is it only Amazon in the States? or is it Amazon UK and Ireland as well?
I do not know. I do know that it will be available for purchase or rent for the first 4 months, and then after that, it goes on to regular streaming. So
Oh,
it might be on Prime after that.
it probably won't be here because I don't think we have. I don't use Amazon Prime a lot, but I don't
Right.
think there's purchase options on it. So
I'll check and see. I'll touch base with the distributor. I'm
I'll,
actually supposed to see him this coming weekend, so
I'll
I'll
figure it
touch I'll
out.
touch base with him and find out.
I'll figure it out somewhere.
All right.
But in terms of indie horror, you've been in a few, in quite a few, um, and the genre itself, obviously boosted no end by the success of Terrifier and Stream and stuff like that.
All right.
Um, what do you make of the indie horror sort of mindset these days, where people are now starting to take notice and realize that how good some of these are? Obviously, like I'm not here to knock anybody making a movie,
Right.
fair play to them, but some of them are made badly, and they know they're made badly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people make a film like that, and there's plenty of Hollywood films that are made like that. But the really good indie horror movies are exceptionally well done.
Yeah, they don't have we don't have a lot of the special effects available to us that big production companies, Hollywood and stuff has. Um, we try to do as much special effects makeup and make it as real as possible, so you don't have to fake and trick as much in front of the computer as you do in front of the camera. Um, I see a lot of stuff being copied in the indie film industry, but I also see a lot of original stuff that is really kind of turning some heads, because especially with all this stuff that's going on with Hollywood and that whole bag of worms,
That's for a different. That's for a
Yeah,
different.
that's for a different show.
That one
But
might get us in some more trouble.
uh, man, I can't keep up with all of it. It's like, look, just show me when the arrests start happening.
Yeah.
But um, I'm seeing a lot of people leaning more toward the indie films, and you know, I hate to say it, but just like you brought up, some of them are shit. Um, and Tubi has just really started to kind of filter those out. They
Oh,
used to
happy,
just
yeah.
accept anything and throw it up, but now they're being a little more selective. So hopefully that'll weed out some of the shit productions that are coming out. Um, Sometimes, you'll look at a film and think, "Oh man, this would have been phenomenal had it been cut a little differently or whatever." Sometimes they'll drag it out a little bit longer than it should be, because either A, they just really loved the shot, or B, they knew the actor that was in the shot and give them a little more face time or whatever. But sometimes you can really just beat a movie to death and lose your audience by just improper editing.
Well, what I found now when we first started getting guests and people started sending us stuff, not every film that I've been sent. Now, I'm brutally honest, and you've seen some of the back catalogs. I will tell people that I just don't like the movie or it
Right.
wasn't good, right? And it comes across well, and it might come across that I'm being an arsehole, but there's no point in me lying to a director going, "Your movie was very good."
There's no point in lying. Just tell the truth. If they don't like it, they shouldn't have asked.
Uh, But like,
you know, I'm gonna be the one that's flat out say, look, if I ask you to look at my film and tell me your honest opinion,
you're
I'd be
going
a
to get
little
an
bit
honest opinion.
I'd be a little bit special ed if I, look down on you for giving me your honest opinion.
Now, majority of them, anyone that sent me one, I've had them on the show.
Yeah.
There's been a few where I haven't liked the film, and
Mm-hmm.
I will tell them, and I'll tell them I didn't like it. Um, and most of the time, I will give them good things that I thought that were in it.
Right.
Some of the times, I've had to just literally tell them that the movie was atrocious. And I'm not one to knock people for doing movie. You want to
Right.
put your money into it and put your money where your mouth is, you fire away.
Right.
But I'll always try and find something good in the movie because I don't want to just turn around and go, "Yeah, your movie was shit."
Well, I mean, you've already invested the whole hour or 2 hours or whatever it was to watch the damn thing to begin with.
Yeah.
So you're at the point where I'm committed. I'm not going to get this hour or 2 hours back. So I might as well just give you my honest opinion and evaluate it. And,
And
you know,
I'm a
that's a
fucker as
good
well.
critic. That's a good critic.
If I start the movie, it doesn't matter how bad it is, I have to finish it.
Yeah.
Like I've seen some dreadful Hollywood movies. Ah, like it's harsh. It's just my
I've
own
seen some
mindset.
that you scratch your head and you look up on IMDb and you say, oh, that cost $1 million to make?
Can I have $1 million just for watching it?
Oh, my God. Or I saw one not long ago that took $3 million to make and it only made $1 million back in the box office. And I'm like,
Well,
the business of this is to make money.
I could be wrong with the figures, but did that Robbie Williams one not cost 110 million quid to make, and it made 10 million in the box office?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or was Disney's one, the John Carter one, that blew
Well,
that blew a fucking load, didn't it?
yeah. But, if you're looking for a tax write off,
I mean, there you go.
yeah. Hey, all you got to do is say it costs this much to make the film.
Yeah. John Carter was 2003. We're now in 2025, so it's been 22 years, and it still hasn't been beaten for probably Disney's biggest blowout. But it will be beaten this year when Snow White comes out.
Yeah, I heard that one's going to bomb pretty hard.
Oh, it's any other thing is people are just like, yeah, no, we're just not going to bother.
No, no. But, that's the thing with remakes. The originals, if you don't stick as close as to you possibly can to an original or just rewrite the whole thing and go a different route with it, call it something else, people are going to be disappointed.
It didn't help when Snow White herself had come out and badmouthed the original, and like I get whatever about diverse casting, but when you have someone who's literally known as the fairest person in the land, and you cast, I think she's from Mexico, or she's
She's
like
got a little
Latina or
darker skin
something.
complexion. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, why? Just why?
It's the diversity.
I get that, right? I do get that. That's fine.
Oh,
But if there's source material to go off,
mm-hmm.
use it. Like there we were saying about Superman and the dog.
Yeah.
It's not like a random thing that they're just bringing in. But
Well, it is to the film. Do not know comics and you only know the films. That's going to piss off a lot of film people.
yeah, but it's gonna be awesome because it's gonna be a pooch on screen. I mean, the last few
Yeah,
Superman movies have
but I
blown
never
that
saw
badly.
Kal-El put the dog in the spaceship. He never made the trip.
What
Somewhere there's a
happened?
poodle that's sore,
Yeah. Ooh.
but it is what it is. I'm not a big fan of remakes, especially when they change the stories, because then it's like you should have just called it something else.
Yeah, just change the name.
Yeah,
And one that I bring up, it's not a remake. It was a continuation of the Texas Chainsaw, the 2022 one.
yeah.
Now what was your opinion on that?
Look, I'm originally from Texas, and I know where that happened. But I think the remake was all right. I really do. That one's
That
with that one had Gunny in it too, didn't it?
it had who
Gunny, the actor that played the sheriff.
in the 2022 Netflix one?
Oh, Netflix. Okay, I didn't
Oh no,
see the
sorry.
Netflix one. I
You're
was
talking
talking
about
about the actual movie.
you're talking about the old tree one with Jessica Biel.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Arlie Emery.
Yeah.
Arlie Emery stole the fucking show in that film.
Yeah. Arnie Emery. That's Gunny. He's
Yeah,
old gunnery sergeant from Marine Corps. Love everything that he was in.
he absolutely stole the show in that old tree one. No, I'm talking about the 2022 one that came out, which is basically it takes out the rest of the timeline and done the Halloween thing where it's the original and then this one.
Yeah.
And oh my god,
Was it good?
no, it
Yeah.
it it nerfs the story. So he was obviously in his house with his family in the original. He's
Yeah.
then apparently been an orphan since he was like 8 in this one, and he's like 80 now, and he takes the chainsaw out of the wall, and it was awful, awful.
See, and that's what kills me about some of these Netflix originals. You know, I understand Netflix finds a good film and they decide, hey, we're going to buy this and we're going to make it an original, blah blah blah. But at least make sure it's good.
I could have done a better job. I might not have been able to direct it, but my 8-year-old probably could have wrote a better story than that.
Right.
But
Well, you know, a lot of the times they don't give a shit about the story because they're riding off the name.
and they're
They
hoping
know
for it.
people will watch it just because of what it is.
Unfortunately, that's the reason I watched it, but I knew it was going to be shit.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Um,
terrible.
so, what other projects have you got upcoming, Paul?
Oh, upcoming projects. Well, I'm still currently working on a podcast. We do a podcast every Tuesday night, and it comes out every Friday. Right now, we're on a hiatus because of scheduling conflict with the studio. We will pick back up next Tuesday and start doing that. I've got a couple other roles lined up for this summer. I'm actually going to be in Fayetteville, North Carolina, the first weekend of March for a zombie apocalypse thing where I'm actually leasing my zombie apocalypse truck for the show. I'm not actually in that scene. We worked on a series. I guess it's been for the past 2 years, and my screen time part, my character has already done what he's supposed to do. But they wanted to bring me back because I've got this phenomenal zombie apocalypse truck that I built. You know, it's kind of falling back on the whole welder and fabricator. You know, but I built this zombie apocalypse truck, and they've leased it out. So I got to drive to Fayetteville the first weekend of March, staying in a cabin there. I get to do all the stunt driving, you know. But
Oh, I was going to
it's
say, do you
fun.
just
It's
have to
cool.
give? I was going to say, do you just have to give them your vehicle then?
Well, I could, or I can stay on set and operate it for them, which would probably be better because there's a lot of gadgets in that truck. I mean, you hit one button and steel grates lower over the side windows.
Deadly.
You hit another button and it raises back up so you can open the doors and get out. I mean, it's got everything imaginable that you could bolt onto a truck. Roughly about $10,000 worth of accessories, plus what I built. I got another button that I push, and a thing raises up out of the back that's got roughly 12 model rockets inside it. So it looks like a rocket launcher.
Deadly.
And I hit that button, it'll raise up, and then I can rotate it 360 degrees and fire off individual rockets or rows at a time.
So
And
you're
there's
literally just
four
waiting
rows.
waiting on the zombie apocalypse to actually happen.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's
There's
not hard to put a payload in these rockets. I've done
you
it.
just wake up every day and look out and be like, no zombies.
Not today.
One day it's coming.
Yeah. Now, you know, I have said and have been told many times that, man, this is the truck you need in a riot, or this is the truck you need for somebody blocking the road, because it's got the big, like, bulldozer blade in the front. You know,
Nice.
it's sick. And honestly, I'm surprised that I have not been pulled over in it yet.
Now,
I mean,
saying
this
that,
thing's
watch as you're pulled over going to Fayetteville.
right. Now that would be the thing.
The
But
cop
yeah,
will
it's
go,
got
push
steel
that
grates
button
over the
there.
windshields. It's got the big push blade in the front. I mean, it's scary looking coming down the road. People love it. They videotape me, take pictures, but I have not been pulled over yet. Of course, the big 50 cal mounted on top of it might be a little bit of a deterrent, but uh, it's an eye
the
turner.
watch as you're driving down now. You get pulled over, and the cop goes, push that big red button there, and the rocket launcher lifts out the back.
Yeah, that'll be good.
What happened? You might as well just get out of the car now.
I'm just gonna like pack the rockets in a different box, you know.
Hope for the best.
That's right.
So they're doing a show down there, so you just go along. You're going to be the stunt driver, basically.
Yep. I'll be the stunt driver for that one. I've got a couple of big roles coming up this summer. One, we're wrapping up the series for On the Run, another zombie apocalypse series that I'm in. That one was based off a YouTube series that you can actually go and see. My character survives and then rolls over into this new series, which is called On the Run. and it'll be coming out on streaming services, not just YouTube. This one will make us some money.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. Well, so you've got a busy summer upcoming.
yeah.
You can do all those projects. I'll reach back out in the winter
Okay.
after I have my son holiday. While you're working and breaking your balls doing all these films and TV shows, I'll sit by the pool and drink beers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we'll realign in the winter.
We'll reconvene this winter and see how it went.
What happened? One of us will have a load of money, and the other one will be a miserable fucker.
Well, one of us will have a good tan.
No, I won't, because I sit in
Well,
the shade.
I'm going to go buy mine. So
Yeah, you're gonna go buy your tan. Nice.
spray it on. Yeah.
Get a sunbed machine.
I'm going to look a little orange this year.
I'll tell you what. Then before we kind of finish up, I'll throw a few questions at you.
Sure.
What horror films are you looking most forward to this year? Whether it be indie or whether it be Hollywood.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, of course, you're it. I can't wait for it to come out because I'm in it. But as far as regular horror film stuff that I have absolutely no affiliation or anything to do with, um, you know, I really can't say because I don't watch a lot of TV and I don't really know a lot of what's coming out.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't follow the movie genre. In fact, I rarely even watch my own films.
It's fair. At least you're honest.
Well, and the thing is, it's like I can't watch it and be comfortable. It's like, oh, I should have done that differently, or I could have done that better, and then you're beating yourself up about it, and you ruin the whole movie. So 9 times out of 10, I won't watch the film that I'm in.
So you watch back that episode of Tulsa King and be like, damn, should have had two aces.
Well, and I went back and I watched it, and I did take some pictures of the screen and sent it to family and stuff like that, But yeah, luckily I didn't have any lines in that, and all I was doing was playing cards. So just background, but at least I was there. Got to meet Stallone.
That's what I mean. You can always say you were part of the
Right,
TV show.
right, yeah.
Because
It was awesome. And we shot that in Atlanta on set, not in Tulsa. Because the second year they moved to Atlanta for all the productions out of Tulsa. The first season they shot in Tulsa.
Oh,
so
okay.
the second season is being shot in a studio in Atlanta, and it turned out really well.
If I'm not mistaken, as well, I think it's his first actual TV show.
Yeah, it's an actual TV show. He moved to Florida. That was the main reason why they had to move production to Atlanta. He got out of California, moved to Florida, so now he films in Atlanta. And I believe he has a home here in North Carolina, too, somewhere near a lake. I'm not at liberty to say where, but...
It's fair. It's fair. Yeah. Obviously, phenomenal actor in the day as well, and he seems to be getting better now as he's getting older.
Yeah.
Apart from those two movies that he done, Alarm and Alarm.
Yeah. Well, and even back in the Tango and Cash days. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know you remember those.
That's a touchy one. That.
Right.
That could have been so fucking good.
He's always been so good in front of the camera.
He just has that presence, doesn't he?
He does.
I'll tell you what is he? He's in his 70s now. He's fucking jacked.
Yeah. And
he is jacked.
He's still big. Of course, I think it was about 10 years ago he got in a little trouble when he was filming one of the Expendables. Was coming back from Canada with some enhancers. And yeah, but and I'll be honest with you, I'm 51. And when I have to get big and swell up, man, if I could get my hands because back in the day when I played semi-pro football, and I played semi-pro football until I was 38, I was doing roids. I was ordering them online. This stuff called Methadrol that was coming out of Canada, and it had Deca, D-bol, and Anadrol in it, the three major components from the 70s. So I ended up putting like 45 pounds of muscle mass on in 6 months.
That sounds
My
legit.
my arms were 23 inches in diameter. I was a freaking monster. Uh, Loved it. If I could get my hands on it, I'd do it again. But and I didn't have any side effects. I had took a little milk thistle, to compensate the liver damage. But if it did or not, I don't know. I quit drinking, so that helps.
That's a
But
bad thing. That fucks you up. The quitting of the drinking fucks you up.
yeah, well, I don't drink anymore because last year, about this time last year, I ended up in the hospital.
Oh,
I was drinking entirely too much, roughly about a fifth a day. And man, I started passing blood and stuff like that. And I was like, "Ooh, this isn't good." Ended up going to the hospital and had some tumors removed. And it was after that that I thought, I need to be around for my grandkids. I got a lot more movies to make, and so I just put it down, just walked away from it.
nice. Well,
Yeah,
like that's sometimes it takes that for people, really, doesn't it, to just go, "Yep,
yeah.
let's go
It
and do
was an
this
eye
properly."
opener, it was an eye opener, and it opened my eyes and it changed my path. And now I'm a little more focused, a little more, hey, what can I get into? What can I get on? In or in front of or behind the camera? Just let me on set, you know.
I will
And
do it
it's
for free until I get
oh
there.
well,
Until I get there. Until I get there.
right. Well, unless there's food or other things involved, but um, it's been a wild ride, And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, it's not so much the end game, it's the journey. And I had a guest on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and she said, if you're already doing it, you're doing it. You're living the dream now because you're still chasing it, but you're doing it. You're in these films. You
What what ends the dream though? You know what I mean? An Oscar win? Because
uh,
then you just crave the next one.
right. I guess what ends the dream is death. You do it until you can't do it anymore.
No, no, but you know, in general, like where people are like, "Oh yeah, you're living the dream." But
Yeah.
what ultimately ends the dream, right? So say for football, it's winning the Super Bowl, or winning the World Cup, or whatever.
Or getting blacklisted and not filming anymore.
That'd be
There's
fun.
always something.
No, but you know what I mean? Is the end game an Oscar win? Because from any report that I've read of someone that's won one,
Yeah.
they just crave the next one.
I can see that. But you know what? My end game, my end goal for all of this is immortality. A lot of times when we sit back and we watch a movie that was made in the 70s, 60s, or even sometimes the 80s now, most of those actors are dead.
Yeah,
You don't realize that for that whole hour or hour and 20 or hour, 2 hours. You don't realize that when you're watching it because those people right then and there are living and breathing, doing what they enjoy doing, and you're enjoying it watching it. So, in a sense, I get to relive every time somebody watches one of those films, even after I'm dead and gone. And my grandkids, my great grandkids, all of them get to enjoy it and say, yeah, hey, that's my great grandpa, you know?
I mean, I get like that when I'm watching Jaws and I'm looking at it going,
Yeah.
my God, the three of them had something, even if they all hated each other.
Right.
Yeah.
But no,
Uh,
I really look at it as kind of, my legacy I'm leaving behind. Just some kind of digital record of my existence, my leaving my mark on the world without a felony trail.
Paul Hurley was here.
Right. So, and even my son and I have talked about it. And, I've told him, I said, look, I want you to show your kids, to show your grandkids long after I'm long and gone. That's why I'm doing it. So you guys can go back and watch it and remember me, you know?
And I mean, like it makes a big difference from working in an office or working as a steel fabricator or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not. It's obviously hands on, but probably not as physically hands on or physically.
Depends. I mean, when you do your own stunts, it's very physically demanding. The fight scenes aren't so bad. And a lot of people are like, oh, that wasn't that bad of a fight scene. I'm like, do it in 15 takes.
No.
No, you know, and it's repetition. It's like, oh, I've already been thrown through that table or through that wall 3 times already. Can we just set up another camera, get 2 different angles, and get it in one take? you know,
Please
but it
don't
don't
throw me
always work
through it
out that
again.
way. Yeah, it don't always work out that way. So you're just like, all right, let's do it.
All right. Well, then, just before we finish up,
Yeah.
throw me your. I know you said you don't watch a whole lot of movies, but throw me your top five, say, horror movies that you've ever watched.
Oh, uh, The Return of the Living Dead Part 2 or 3. That one scared the heck out of me.
All
And
good
then,
choices there, though.
huh?
They're all good choices. All
Yeah,
three of the Return of the Living Dead.
yeah. The first one, it was okay. The second one, But I want to say the third one, Return of the Living Dead. I can't remember her name, but she was the main star in it. I actually met her at a Comic Con not long ago. But that one, I love all the Halloween films. Michael Myers is, well, he's actually over here in the corner wearing a police uniform right now, but he's one of my on-screen hero villains. Um, and then,
All right, well, there's a tough one. If
yeah,
it,
the
if it,
last one.
uh, I don't know. I like the new ones.
Yeah, yeah, I like the new ones. Yeah, the new ones are good. The Rob Zombie ones I liked.
I
Uh,
didn't.
he could have screwed them up really bad, but I think he did okay. Um, the original, you can't ever break the original. You
No,
know,
no.
no one will ever outdo the original Halloween.
Tree is the second best of them for me.
Yeah, was that the one? That wasn't the one with Buster Rhymes, was it?
No, Season of the Witch, the one with Tom Atkins, the one that didn't have Michael Myers in it.
Right.
Uh, love that one.
Yeah. That you know, and there was a film. What was it? Piranha. I want to say it was in
Oh,
the
it's
late
so good.
early 90s.
70,
Yeah.
no, Piranha was 78,
Was it that old?
78, I think.
I know I was a kid when I saw it. I'm really trying to like make myself younger right now, but
Let me see. I don't want the remake. The remake was fun though.
yeah.
Um,
But the original, I guess you would say that was back in the 70s,
yeah, 1978.
78.
Yeah, and then James Cameron done the second one, The Spawning,
Yeah.
in like
Yeah. Those
80.
those terrified me. But yeah, Piranha, that one took the cake, because I loved to swim the lake. When I was
Oh,
growing up, a little town in Texas, we had a lake just right outside of town, and you couldn't pry me away from the lake. I saw that movie, I thought twice.
what about the
I was like,
alligators?
I know there's not any in there, but.
Well, you've got alligators there. That shit's worse.
Yeah, yeah. I was in East Texas. We had alligators bordering Louisiana. It
Yeah, and you're
and
worried
snakes,
about
water
fish.
moccasins, all the fun stuff.
You're worried about some fish, and you've got
Worried about some
alligators.
fish with teeth, man.
Alligators have teeth, big teeth, big
Yeah, yeah. But
teeth.
you can normally see them coming,
And what
unless
happens
they're
when
under the water.
you don't see them coming?
Yeah, then you're screwed.
Yeah. Now Piranha. I remember watching the original Piranha.
Yeah.
I must have been about 12 or 13, and
Wow.
it the telly had it listed as a different movie,
Hmm.
so I video recorded it at the time, and because it was on at like half 12 at night.
Right.
I think it had it down as Dawn of the Dead that was supposed to be on, like the original one. And I
Right.
was like, yeah, okay, I'll watch that. And when I recorded it, Piranha came on. Now I sat and watched it, and I was like, this is the weirdest zombie movie ever. And
I could see
like
the confusion there. Yeah.
obviously the start of it, where like it's up into the water tank or water treatment center or whatever they called it.
Right.
In the start of Piranha, I was like, this is strange. There's no zombies here. And then obviously the name Piranha comes up. I was like, okay, well, let's watch this. And I'd seen Jaws at that stage. I'd seen Anaconda at that stage.
Right.
Now I'm a huge creature feature fan, so I'll watch, especially animal attack creature features. I love an animal attack creature feature.
Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, I like the original one. I didn't like the new ones.
You're talking about the Stephen King one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um,
The 87, I'm gonna say 86.
yeah, I can't watch it.
Boy,
Yeah, I got like a soft spot with kids, and when that kid ran out in front of that semi on the road, that's as far as I've seen that movie.
oh,
I can't watch it.
you know what? I watched the remake with my
Yeah.
missus here one day, right? And obviously Gabe gets killed in the original one by the truck. In the remake, the truck actually goes over him, like it rolls and it flips over him and
Oh
kills the
wow.
older sister. I was like, what the fuck? I
That
was like,
took you for a loop.
I was like,
What the?
fuck. I was all
Oh.
here for that. That's the only reason I came to watch this movie. But after that, it was terrible.
Yeah, I was
Um,
I was married with a child about that age when I first saw that film, and as soon as that scene popped up, man, I picked up my kid and I looked at my wife and everybody else in the house, and I had my brother and his wife there at the time. It was a family night. But I looked at them, I picked up my son, and I said, I am not watching the rest of this. And I walked out
I'm
with the
going
kid,
home.
and they were like, "What the hell just happened?" And I'm like, "Can't do it, can't do it."
To be
And
fair, that little kid deserved it.
well, yeah, he didn't listen, but
He didn't listen. And if you see later on in that movie, you will not feel sorry for him. He cut
right.
someone's Achilles tendon with a scalpel.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
no, 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 no. Like
Well,
I
and at the time, being a young father with a young child, I was also a volunteer fireman. So
oh,
I was going out and doing these calls, motor vehicle accidents, stuff like that. And on, I'll never forget this. It was 2001 Christmas. A young lady from the Air Force Base had driven all night long across Texas to surprise her family Christmas morning,
ugh.
and she had passed out at the wheel. And this was in Carthage, Texas, just outside of Panola County. She fell asleep at the wheel, veered over into the culvert, and hit a culvert to a driveway. Um, she was dead upon arrival, and the child not soon long after. We had a landing zone set up. Helicopter was coming in, and neither one of them made it. And I had to go home and pretend like, ah, you know, it's Christmas morning. Merry Christmas, kids.
What happened?
That was
We had
probably
fun.
the hardest thing that I ever had to do because that child was my youngest child's age at the time.
Oh, it's dire, isn't it? It's
Yeah, so there I am holding a dead child the same age as my son, and then I had within the same 2 hours go home and have Christmas, pretend like it didn't happen.
no.
So
It takes a different mindset to be a firefighter or a paramedic or
I'm going to be honest with you after that. If it wasn't burning, my wheels weren't turning. Motor vehicle accidents, stuff like that. I did not go. I did not respond to. I got tired of scraping kids off the highway. So if it wasn't burning, I wasn't going. And it wasn't long after that I just got out of it altogether because it eats at you. It really does. You've got to have a certain mindset for that. And I did it for several years, but once I became a father and felt that was it for me.
game over. Too much
Yeah.
to lose.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't watch the news.
the news is
As you can
bad
tell,
for you.
I don't watch much TV, but
No, you just build fucking zombie apocalypse trucks.
yeah, I'm always working on something. I mean, I've got a couple of scripts I'm working on now. Actually, going to see a guy tomorrow about leasing a studio. So, I'm always running, turning and burning. Um, but I really hope to look back on it all one day and say, hey, you know what? It was a blast.
And I
I
do
don't
it all
regret a
again.
don't regret a moment of it.
Well, I mean, I've no doubt we'll be back on with you at some stage.
I look
To
forward to it. I mean, who would have thought I'd be on a Zoom call with a guy in Ireland today? So you're on the other side of the planet, dude.
yeah, and we're smashing it too.
That's right. But no,
um,
it's funny. There's where this road takes you. You just got to
absolutely. Well,
enjoy it.
as I said on the show before, like we never started this out to have guests on. One fell into our lap, and now it's spiraled.
There you go.
And I think we've had more guest episodes than we've had normal episodes.
Well, it works out that way, and I've noticed in a podcast, it really helps the podcast because they help promote you, promote them, they get their point across. You get a lot of information for your viewers that they might not have gotten, had you just done your regular show. A lot of people bringing new stuff to the table really helps kind of spice it up.
That's the one thing I love, getting other people's takes on certain films.
Right.
Like me and Carl have such vast opinions on certain films, and then it comes to other films, and we're like literally like we're spot on, like we've known each other forever. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But like yeah, I love sitting down, and like I've been lucky enough. I've got to sit down with Neil Marshall, who directed Dog Soldiers and The Descent and stuff.
Nice.
I got to sit down with Buddy Cooper, who made The Mutilator, two of my favorite films. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I've been quite lucky with the guests that we've had.
That's awesome.
And then obviously countless friends that we've made along the way, from actors and actresses to special effects to everything in between.
Right.
Oh, it's been a great ride on this one.
Man, I'm telling you, it's all about the journey. It really is.
And hopefully the journey will cross paths once again, maybe later on into the year when the next few projects are out and I've had a
I'm
chance
sure
to
it
see
will.
if follows and stuff. But Paul, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a real honor, brother.
Best of luck with the zombie apocalypse.
Appreciate it. I'm ready.
What happened? We'll see a video camera of you just driving along, man pulled over in truck, rocket
Man, I'm
launchers
telling you, it's
and
coming.
miniguns.
I know it's coming.
It's going to happen on the way to Fayetteville. It's going
It
to happen.
probably will. It probably will. But it's legal, so
Conceal and carry and all that.
oh yeah. It's not concealed, it's mounted on the roof. It's a great big 50 cal.
What happens? You could put a hood over it.
There you go. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, it's concealed. But what I'll do, folks, is I'll leave it here the way I leave every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.